Let's have a look at the grid as they get set to go for this L&W Supply Grand Prix of Toronto. We'll look at 14 drivers set to go here in Indy Pro 2000. Row number 7, the young lady out of Colorado, Lindsay Brewer, in the number 93 machine, starting in the 14th position in the C4 energy drink machine. She'll start 14th alongside Wyatt Prokachik from Colorado. Wyatt Prokachik in the number 92. Expect him to work his way forward quickly. Row number 6, last year's USF 2000 champion Kiko Portal, coming off a victory at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course just 2 weeks ago. A deep starting spot for Porto, but he should be able to move forward in that Road to Indy liveried D-Force Racing number 1. Inside of that row, starting in the 11th spot, Braden Eves, the J. Howard Driver Development driver, a winner this year already as well. The number 4, another former USF 2000 champion, Eves, starting in P11. Moving now to the top 10. Row number 5 on the outside, Yuvan Sundaramurthy. A big move forward yesterday as the rookie driver continuing to get more and more comfortable with his Tatis IP22 machine. He'll start 10th in the number 18. And on the inside, a former Formula Ford Festival winner out of Ireland, it's Jonathan Brown, the rookie in the number 2 for Turn 3 Motorsport. Row number 4 will have that red number 40 of Jack William Miller, the Miller Vinatieri Motorsports entry on the outside. And on the inside, Anam Ahmed in the number 47 out of London, England for Juncos Hollinger Racing. Row number 3 on the outside, Salvador De Alba, the Mexican NASCAR driver and Super Copa racer who has moved to the open wheel category here. Salvador De Alba, a winner already this year, but has really improved throughout the season. The J. Howard Driver Development pilot in the number 6, starting in the 6th position. Inside of row number 3, Jordan Missing, another driver who has improved incredibly over the second half of the season. The Illinois pilot for Pabst Racing, the rookie in the number 19, starting in the 5th spot. We'll go now to row number 2 on the outside. Juncos Hollinger Racing pilot, and again, we're looking to Indy lights next year. Started a number of years ago, just 14 years of age in USF 2000 from Miami, Florida. It's Reese Gold in the number 55. Gold coming in 2nd place in points. Alongside him, the driver who was able to turn things up yesterday, drove to the podium in the Turn 3 Motorsports number 3, the rookie Josh Green out of Mount Kisco, New York, starting on the inside of row number 2. And with 14 drivers in the field, 2 on the front row. Off pole out of Palo Alto, California. A couple of wins on the season already for Nolan Siegel in the number 8 for D-Force Racing. Siegel starting on the outside of row number 1. But the driver they have been chasing through the midway section of the racetrack already has won on all 3 disciplines of the series here this year. A natural terrain road course, the oval at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and yesterday his first street circuit win. Louis Foster out of England for Exclusive Autosport in the Copart number 90 machine will start on the pole position. Can anyone slow down the Louis Foster train here in Toronto? It'll be Foster and Siegel on row 1, Green and Gold row 2, Missing and De Alba on row 3, Ahmed and Miller on row 4, Brown and Sundaramurthy row 5, Eves and Porto on row 6, and on row number 7, Prokachik and Brewer. Again, 14 drivers set to go. Behind each and every one of them, 250 horsepower. The engine's built by Elite Engines out of Wisconsin. Everyone on the Italian-made Tatis chassis. And it is time to go racing for 25 hard-fought laps to cap off the Road to Indy program here at this year's Honda Indy Toronto. And again, time to get things underway. These drivers ready to fire it up for the L&W Supply Grand Prix of Toronto. And one of our guests from L&W Supply to give the command to start engines, Stacy Welch.
Good morning, Road to Indy fans. On behalf of L&W Supply, drivers, start your engines.
And with that, engines coming to life down here on pit lane. 14 drivers set to go. Todd Lewis, we got ourselves a race here in Indy Pro 2000.
Looking forward to it, Rob Howden. Can't wait to see these Indy Pro 2000 cars get back out on track. We know they are going to produce at least as much excitement as we saw earlier today with the USF 2000 cars. Those of you that were with us for our first race of the day, you know what to expect. Indy Pro 2000 cars put on a terrific show yesterday. It was the dominant driver, Louis Foster, who led the way and scored the victory yesterday, who continues his point streak of finishing on the podium at least once in each event so far this season, which is an astounding feat in the competitive class such as the Indy Pro 2000 presented by Cooper Tires. We'll see if anyone can knock Louis Foster off the top step of the podium today, whether it be Nolan Siegel, whether it be Josh Green or Reese Gold. those are the drivers in the first 4 rows as they're now making their way out on course, already through corner number 1 and headed down the long straightaway on Lakeshore Boulevard, trying to get some heat into those tires, trying to get some heat into those brakes as well, because they will be calling on them early in this race. As they approach corner number 1, it's a great opportunity. The starts and restarts, the best opportunities to make quick gains in position. Look for that as these drivers can get aggressive at times in the Indy Pro 2000 series. A little typical weaving back and forth along Lakeshore Boulevard, the best opportunity to weave and get some heat into those tires. They're a little bit spaced out now, plenty of room along the circuit as they make their way around following the pace car up through corner number 3. One of the best passing spots on the inside. As you see, though, a challenge because of the transition in surface in corner number 3, and that tight right turn, if you're going up the inside, also is uphill. It's a challenge to get that car to stick and grip, as it is there in corner number 5 because of that slippery surface, that epoxy patch that is down there. It has presented a bit of a unique challenge to the drivers so far this season as they're making their way through now. Getting out onto the back part of the course and through corner number 6, 7, and 8. 8 is another very good passing area, and we'll see attempts to gain position through that area. We saw one attempt that went kind of awry in the USF 2000 race this morning with Miles Rowe and Michael D'Orlando as the cars making their way through corner 8 now. And Rob Howden, who's joined me, their cars starting to form up, double file for the start.
Indeed, time to go racing here for the back end of the doubleheader of the L&W Supply Grand Prix of Toronto. Indy Pro 2000 drivers to fire things up. Foster on the inside, Siegel on the outside. Beautiful day here in Toronto. Couldn't ask for much more. Out of turn number 11, time to go racing. Green, green, green. And they'll work their way down. Contact further back. Somebody's got a wing in the air. Drivers going 4 or 5 wide. Big move to the inside of turn 1. What's it going to be like when they come out of this corner? Yellow flag flying, drivers in the wall. 1, 2, potentially 3 drivers included in this event in turn number 1. That'll be a full course caution for sure. They'll go green though all the way down into turn number 3 and 4. Let these guys kind of settle things out a little bit. They'll work their way down there. Set a couple of drivers involved. They'll keep racing down into turn number 3. Lead goes to Foster, but I think that might be Jordan missing up into the 2nd spot. He's able to get by Reese Gold. Siegel, I believe, one of the drivers involved from the off pole. Siegel into the wall in turn number 1. There's your full course yellow, and indeed we'll slow them out of turn number 5. Turn 1 has caught Indy Pro 2000. Todd, it's such a enticing and inviting corner, extremely wide on the entry, very narrow on the exit. Number of different styles of concrete, pavement, whatever it may be, a little bit of a bumpy nature to it. It can catch drivers out for sure.
As we mentioned, it is a great opportunity to gain positions off the initial start when they're double file or off a restart when the field is bunched up, as they will be once we get this race going green again. But it teases you sometimes. It draws you in thinking there's a larger opening than is actually present. And as you get through corner number 1, this circuit narrows down in corner number 2, and that's when some of these drivers get squeezed. The accordion effect comes in, and that's what seems to have caught a number of drivers out.
Yeah, one driver I saw go to pit lane was, I believe, Anam Ahmed in that number 47. Lost the front wing off his Juncos Hollinger Racing Tata, so he's got into pit lane already on the podium yesterday. We will get a chance to have a look at a replay of what happened in the corner as they've all got behind the Road to Indy pace car now. Here is a look at what happened in turn number 1. This will be on the exit. Yeah, it looks like Siegel going backwards. Someone got into the back of Siegel. Those drivers going into the wall. Josh Green potentially involved as well. So Siegel and Green, I think the two in the contact. Kiko Porto potentially in the back. And I think Lindsey Brewer really had nowhere to go on the outside. Though there's Jack William Miller coming through clean. So it was Green, De Alba, and Anam Ahmed, Kiko Porto as well. 4 drivers involved in the incident in turn number 1.
Kind of looked as if Siegel was turned around and got backed in, and some of the other drivers who were taking a wider line approach through corner number 1, they were almost collected as collateral damage. Didn't do anything wrong, but when Siegel backed into the wall, the track was blocked, and they got collected up in that incident.
What's really tough for Josh Green, he had made up some points yesterday, finishing in the 2nd spot. Comes in just 1 point, or rather, I think 12 points behind Anam Ahmed and only 13 behind Nolan Siegel for third. This is not what Josh Green needed. We go to Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway for the Oval event in the next race in late October. Otherwise, the drivers out front getting the job done. Louis Foster able to go to the lead. Jordan Missick for Pabst Racing able to get through the bottom of the racetrack. He ends up coming out P2. Reese Gold in third. Jack William Miller fourth, and Yuvan Sundar Murthy in fifth. And wow, we have a break in the action here right now. We'll bring in the guest that I've brought up into the PA booth with us here today. Driver who just won his third race of the year in USF 2000, and very importantly, bringing him closer to the championship battle as we go to the finale at Portland. Jace Denmark out of Scottsdale, Arizona for Pabst Racing. Jace, first off, thanks for joining us. Second, man, that was a huge win for you.
Yeah, it was really good to finally get it done. Really needed it to get right back into the action for the championship, and just, really happy to get really good points for Pabst again, yesterday and today.
That's interesting you say that, because you're running for a driver's championship as all the other competitors are as well, but you're also racing for a team championship. That's kind of that team pride thing, and we'll award that at the season end banquet at Portland. But, there's times, Jace, through your racing career, karting, whatever it may be, when you're in a battle with someone back and forth, battle, they lead, you lead. That's when you're kind of more in it, right? For you, leading as you did, essentially start to finish, the stress of having your teammate Miles Rowe on that gearbox for almost the entire race.
Right. He's a good, aggressive driver. He always wants to win. So do I. So it's really tense being teammates and always going after the win the whole time. So really happy that I could get through. It's unfortunate what happened to him, but no comment on that.
Yeah, on to the next race, man, on to the next race. We're, of course, hoping to go green very soon, but let's talk about turn number one as the pole sitter, Louis Foster, getting through cleanly. That's really their biggest worry, right? You launch off the line, you're just worried about someone trying to make the dive bomb on you, and you obviously able to get out cleanly.
Right, there's a break in the wall, halfway down going into turn one, so that it gives some of the drivers behind you opportunity to dive to the inside, where it's dirty, it's nasty down there, and you don't really know what the car is going to do going in, especially with people in front of you. So I think that's just kind of what caught a bunch of these Indy Pro 2000 drivers out today.
Exactly. A little notice to the IndyCar drivers, Todd Lewis, dirty and nasty on the inside of turn number one.
Yes, apparently that is the case. And Jace, I just want to ask you quick before we get back to green. Looks like we still got a little bit of time. How much were you looking forward, and how much were you checking your mirrors with Miles Rowe behind you as you ran through that race?
As it was in the oval, and most races where you're, in a high pressure situation where someone's, really fast behind you, you just got to keep your head down, eyes forward, trust your spotters, see everything, and just head down, go for it.
Pace car remains on the track here right now, so one more time around under yellow after the incident we had in the opening lap of the race, the opening corner again. Let's re-hit that again. So Salvador De Alba, Josh Green, Anam Ahmed, and Kiko Porto, and Nolan Siegel all involved, we believe, in that event. Siegel able to continue, able to pull Porto back out, as well as Anam Ahmed. He went to pit lane for a new wing. Looks to be like everybody able to stay on the lead lap too, Todd, which I think is key. Green, of course, out of this race. Tough one for him. He really was looking forward to a good one after a strong second-place finish yesterday. De Alba out as well. I'm not sure even if De Alba actually started. I didn't see him involved in that incident. Otherwise, everybody back on track on the lead lap.
That's good. Nice to have those repairs done, and hopefully the cleanup is just about complete. Looks like the safety vehicles are starting to make their way back to their positions around the track, and looks like the word has been given to the drivers. Warm the tires up. Let's get ready to go.
So let's give a shout-out then to the Amr Safety Crew from IndyCar. That's one of the things, as part of the Road to Indy, we're so fortunate to have the AMR IndyCar safety team with us at all our events. They know our cars, they know our drivers. When something happens, they're there. You see how quickly they are on the scene. They assess what has to happen. If it needs a hook, if it needs a start. That's why we're able to not lose that many laps, because we have IndyCar and their safety team with us. So great to have those guys on board. They're part of our USF Juniors program as well. It's one of the things that helps separate the Road to Indy from any other program around the world.
Lights are out on the pace car. It looks like these drivers are getting lined up, set for the restart, going through corners 6 and 7. Yes, lights are out, and we'll get back to green racing action for lap number 5.
Louis Foster had to defend off of 2 restarts yesterday in that victory he was able to take. Let's see what happens with him and Jordan Missick. Missick had a good run yesterday as well as he tries to work his way up to over to the top 10. 7th place yesterday for Missick, has worked his way to 2nd with a really strong opening lap, is able to get to the inside of that chaos. He's up on the gearbox of Louis Foster now. They'll work their way out of turn number 9 through 10. Missick's trying to stay with them. Miller already looking to the inside there. Reese Gold, that might have been a bit of an early pass there. I don't know. Miller could get in trouble for that one. dove into the inside before we had gone green. Foster's going to lead him down into turn number 1. That is going to gap them back a little bit. They'll go side by side further back. Reese Gold and Yuvan Sundaramurthy's on the outside. He'll tuck in ahead of Jonathan Brown in the turn 3 Motorsport number 2 machine. First time at speed down the back straightaway after the restart, and Foster looking to see if he can't defend from Jordan Missing. Todd, based on the pace they've shown throughout the weekend, shouldn't be too hard for him to pull away. But all told, Missing should be very happy able to slot into P2 here early on.
Nice job staying close with that leader, Louis Foster, who's been such a dominant force in Indy Pro 2000 this season. Nice job by the rest of these competitors, a number of them going through side by side, and oh, just a little brush there coming out of corner number 5.
Look at this fight side by side. Yuvan Sundaramurthy try on the outside around Reese Gold. There's not a lot of grip out there. Another driver spinning, and that's going to be Jonathan Brown. Oh, big wreck there as well. That's Siegel involved. So I'll tell you what happened there. We're going to see it on the replay. Coming out of turn number 5, Jonathan Brown tapped the wall with the right rear. The minute he came through turn number 6, that rear let go. He went around and came, I believe, right in front of Nolan Siegel. This is the guy in 3rd spot in points right now. We talk about Louis Foster taking things into his own hands, Todd. He's winning races, right? He's won 5 of the last 7 races, has Louis Foster. A podium as well, so 6 podiums in 7 races. It's the drivers behind him that can't make mistakes like this, and that wasn't Siegel's fault. He just got caught up in it. Hopefully we'll be able to see a replay, but man, tough one. 2 incidents for Siegel. Able to continue after the first one, not after this second wreck.
No, just as we talked about with the incident number 1 and corner number 1 off the initial start of this race, seemed to get collected in some collateral damage, and we'll get a chance to have a look at it now. That incident again started through corner number 5 with Brown that touched the wall, and there you see the spin coming out in front, and yes, there's the collateral damage catching Nolan Siegel.
Yeah, you can just see as he came back onto the power coming out of turn number 6, starting to get on the throttle. Around went Brown, and of course, as soon as he went sideways, the car's going to shoot back across the racetrack. Got into the right rear of Nolan Siegel. Look at the damage there, front wing, rear wing, and here's the tap that happened. He's way out wide, just missed the entry point, and watch that rear wheel. It's already askew. You can see he's broken, but probably the front connecting mounts on the upper and lower control arm. And at that point, he's along for the ride. As soon as he gets back around the corner, gets on power, it's just going to shoot over as it does. And he collects Nolan Siegel, who was just minding his own business. Very lucky for a couple drivers to get through. Kiko Porto almost with contact as well. I believe Anam Ahmed just able to sneak through. That's a tough corner. Jace, let's come back to you. We talked from the very beginning of the weekend how they resurfaced turn number 5 with some concrete. I'm sure you did the track rock. It was super slippery. Was it like that throughout the weekend? Did it ever get any grip from start to finish?
You know, from first practice on Friday, it was pretty slick, and it really didn't get too much better. I mean, yeah, there's a little bit more entry grip and a little bit on the outside, on the exit, but not much going in, especially if you're trying to go too wide. Is not good. So if you're anywhere outside of the little bit of camber that's in there,
yep,
or on the dirty part of the concrete, you're going to have no grip, and that's kind of what happened to Jonathan Brown right there.
Jace Denmark joining us from Pabst Racing, 3rd place in points. A big win today for Jace, his 3rd on the season out of Scottsdale, Arizona, closing up to his teammate Miles Rowe, tightening up 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship points. We're not going to go green this time by. We'll try it later. So what is the approach to that corner? Is it really all about making sure you hit the marks, hit the apex, the entry, but then is it a gradual roll on with the throttle? And you probably can't stab the throttle coming through there.
Right. It's you're going to have to be able to make sure that you have a solid entry and exit. You know, you don't want to carry too much speed in, but you want to make sure that you can definitely nail that apex corner and have a solid, smooth transition to the throttle and exit so that you're set up for the next corner, turn 6, which is very important.
And Todd, what did we see there coming into that corner? Jonathan Brown was nowhere near the apex. He could probably have sent mail from the apex over to where he was, and it would have taken a couple of days. He was way the heck out there, and really, as soon as he got back on the throttle, the rear end of that car started to step out.
That's the difficulty trying to navigate that traffic through, because that started entering in through corner number 3, that you've got to navigate the traffic through corner number 3. They were side by side there. It sort of straightened out a little bit in corner number 4, but everybody's just fighting for position, especially early on. Again, we talked about the opportunity to gain spots. It's best right off a restart, and as you fight through the corners, you gotta put the elbows up a little bit.
Yeah, so we're going to end up with, I think, 10 drivers remaining on track here right now. The 14 that we started with. Brown is out, Siegel's out, Green and De Alba. And again, we saw it in race number 2 earlier today for USF 2000. It's almost like everybody wanted to try to get cleanly through Saturday's races on race 1 and 2. And now they're like, you know, we might as well just win it or bin it here on this one here, because guys are really pushing super hard. The tires weren't even up to temperature for Jonathan Brown, but they were fighting for positions further back.
The other part of this too is, and you talked about it with Jace, is the championship chase. As you see, drivers are just going to have to, if I'm going to have an opportunity to improve my position in the championship, you're going to have to be aggressive. That's what Michael D'Orlando and Miles Rowe were doing in the USF 2000. I think we're seeing a little bit of it here as well, Jace, is that drivers are understanding there's only a few rounds left, time to go for it.
Right. At the end of the season, everyone's getting a little more comfortable with what they can do and getting a lot more aggressive. And I feel like most of the drivers feel like they haven't done enough work in the beginning of the season, so now they're putting their elbows out now. And,
is it partly too, as Rob was mentioning, that you got through Saturday, there's a comfort level that comes in, you think you want to try to get that just a little bit more out of the car in the circuit?
Right, and having just the one session today, the one race today after, you know, hard-fought races yesterday, there's a lot of redemption coming from a lot of drivers, so they want it real bad.
I always say that everybody comes into the second race of the weekend with a different storyline, right? A different focus. The driver who's won, like a Louis Foster, and he's got a good, you know, lead in the points. He can, you know, he doesn't need to win the race. He can kind of settle in. But a guy that maybe had an issue and fell to the tail of the field, got a DNF, he's like, I got to come back. Sunday's my, as Jay said, that's my redemption. You're a little more motivated, I think, to get aggressive than a guy who potentially finished on the podium.
It just makes sense. Everyone looks for redemption on Sunday.
That's it, right? 100% true. Louis Foster, the leader. Let's rack them for you here. Foster, P1, again, trying to get another victory. Waited all the way to the road course in Indianapolis, the third race of a triple header there to get his first win of the season, but then went on a tear. Won the Freedom 90 rather at Indianapolis Raceway Park. Then scored the first win of the weekend at Road America. Win as well at Mid-Ohio and a win here in Toronto. He leads over Jordan Missig in second. Jack William Miller up to third. Reese Gold runs fourth. Braden Eves now to fifth. 6 is Yuvan Sundarmurthy, 7th Wyatt Prakacic, 8th Kiko Porto, 9th Anam Ahmed, and rounding in our 10 drivers who remain on the racetrack, Lindsey Brewer in the number 93 machine. Looks like the pace car getting on the throttle a little bit, trying to get out ahead of this field to dive into pit lane after they come through turn number 8. We're going to go back to racing. It'll be 8 laps down. We'll have 17 laps remaining. We get back here, and Louis Foster, who, as I said, handled the restarts expertly yesterday, will look to do the same. But you mentioned it, Todd. Jordan Missig looked real good on that lap stand right there with Foster. And
they're going through corner 8 right now, and Missig is trying to do exactly the same thing, mirror the acceleration of Louis Foster and create an opportunity for himself when he go back to green.
Through turn number 9, 10, and now 11. Look at this. Everybody hustling through. That's so bumpy. We were trying to get back on the throttle on a restart, and they will work their way up the front straightaway. Green flag flying for Louis Foster. Let's see if we can string together a couple of laps here right now. Look at this wild battle for P3 or P4. Down to the inside comes Sundarmurthy. He has looked to the inside of Jack William Miller. Big slide for Sundarmurthy. A bunch of opposite lock in the wheel there, but he's able to bring it out of the corner and hold that position. Foster going to try to hold off Jordan Missig. That is Gold into the third spot. Sundarmurthy up to fourth. We got some action on the opening circuit. These guys are not waiting at all. Another big dive bomb move. Kiko Porto coming to the inside of Wyatt Prakacic into the corner as well. 2 wide coming out on turn number 4.
Good to see that caution has really prevailed and everyone has settled down. It is unbelievable, the side-by-side action. Once again, going into corner number 3. Everybody through 5, headed through 6. The front 2 have strung out just a little bit with Louis Foster and Jordan Missig now stretched out a little bit, and everybody through the back part of the circuit.
Yeah, somebody threw another log on the campfire there. It is heating up big time. They're pushing super hard. And look at Jordan Missig hanging with Louis Foster up front. I sent a message to Jordan Missig last night saying, dude, you have been very impressive. Keep it up. I like what you're doing. You're getting more and more comfortable. A strong run here, P2 early in this run. And there's an opportunity. If he holds on here, could get himself onto the podium for the first time here in 2022.
Great job so far by Jordan Missig, hanging with Louis Foster, the championship leader in the Indy Pro 2000 series. As they get through the long straightaways and accelerate, the gap does look a little bit bigger, but Jordan Missig, as you mentioned, staying close, and it's a great opportunity for him as well, looking for that podium position, being up front with the championship leader, a guy who has had success. It's an opportunity to learn and see where there might be a chance for him to get by.
Yeah, Anam Ahmed Med trying to get around Kiko Porto deeper in the field. The Med in the Juncos Hollinger machine. There's Kiko Porto coming through in that white, black, and red Road to Indy scholarship program. And there's Yuvan Sundermurthy. Picked up a bit of mid-corner understeer there, Jace. You saw that, didn't you? How was that?
Yeah, man, it does catch you out a couple times on that concrete. Just really bumpy transition back to throttle right there.
Waiting for the car to rotate, and indeed the bumps are there. He's going back to throttle, and Todd, as Canadians, we know this when you're driving in the snow and the thing starts to push on you, you just plow and you're like, oh no, this isn't good. I guarantee you that's what Yuvan Sundermurthy was thinking.
Well, and it requires the driver at times to be patient too, because if you overreact too quickly, you'll only compound the problem and make your difficulties even greater. But nice work for them to get through that smoothly.
Foster now leading by 0.8 of a second, stretching about here on Jordan Missig, who's still running strongly here for Pabst Racing. And this would be a huge result for Jordan and Pabst Racing. They, as we said, had some great finishes in USF 2000 this past weekend. The 2 wins, one for Miles Rowe, one for Jace Denmark. He was on the podium yesterday as well, Jace was, so it's been great. They'd love to have one here in Indy Pro 2000. It seems like this program for Pabst and Indy Pro has been getting better and better throughout the season. They came in with 2 rookies and a sophomore driver in Colin Kaminsky. Colin no longer running this year, has put a kibosh on the end of the season, going to look towards Indy Lights next year possibly, but that's put them with 2 rookies, Yuvan Sundermurthy and Jordan Missig, and so the data may not be as high quality if you had a veteran driver, but both these kids are getting stronger and stronger throughout the season.
Exactly what you want to see and exactly what you hope to see in the Indy Pro 2000 series with a driver that's made their way in. They've had a little bit of a chance to gain experience. If they've run USF 2000, they get a chance to learn some of the tracks, learn the routine, learn the drill of how the Road to Indy operates and how the series operates as part of a weekend, so they have that little bit of knowledge base. Now it's learning the increased power, the increased performance of the cars.
Been a while since we've been to Toronto, as we've talked about throughout the weekend, 3 years, and there is a number of drivers here in this Indy Pro 2000 category who were running in USF 2000 back in 2019. So some of the drivers do have the knowledge, a weekend's worth of experience on what is a very difficult racetrack, and of course, guys like Jace Denmark and all the other USF 2000 drivers now have that experience when we come back next year. There's the fight continuing, I believe, for the it's the 7th position. Wyatt Prakacic running in 7th spot. Kiko Porto in 8th. Anab Ahmed 9th. And Lindsey Brewer in 10th. And now Foster out to a 1.2 second advantage. I think right now we're watching potentially the fight between Missig and Gold. We'll look at lap times there. Gold, actually last time, the best time last time was a 110.9. Missig getting down there. Getting about 0.2 of a second on Gold. Let's see if Reese has any speed here midway through as we're lap number 12 in the books now. But Louis Foster doing what he's been doing mid-season and potentially on his way to another victory. Oh
yes, this has been Louis Foster, just as he did yesterday, managing and navigating his way through the field. There were a couple of incidents and a couple of restarts that he had to manage, but none too huge a challenge for Louis Foster, but just an indication of the kind of season that he has had. A rookie coming over to Indy Pro 2000, his experience in Europe, but coming over, you talked a little bit about it yesterday, some struggles in terms of understanding the tire, understanding qualifying and the process and how it works, but boy, did he ever figure it out.
May have been a pass further back here. I believe Anam Ahmed trying to set him up. There's Ahmed trying to, that's a Kiko Porto trying to go on the outside of Wyatt Prakacic through turn number 4. They're good to go so far down to the bottom of the racetrack. Porto trying to finish it in turn number 5. Book it, he's through. And that's a fantastic pass there. We haven't seen a lot of passes like that. Jace, let's come to you on that one because it's not an easy pass to make around the outside of turn number 3, hoping the driver's going to give you enough room in turn number 4 than having the inside of turn 5.
Right, there's not a lot of room on the exit of 3, especially if they're a big, uphill acceleration zone that goes immediately right into a left-hander. So, if I was on the inside, I wouldn't give that much mercy. But he got it done, so good move from Porto.
Yeah, and Wyatt Prakacic, I think, wanted to get a result here, so didn't want to have some trouble there. Probably could have forced the issue a bit on Kiko Porto, but Wyatt running that line, staying true, and that allowed Porto to get through. Now, Anam Ahmed will try to see if he can't get by. But again, looking at lap times, Jordan Missig and Reese Gold, very similar. Both drivers 1:10.4s. Missig doing a tremendous job to work his way here to P2, taking advantage of the opening lap skirmish over there in turn number 1. But man, he's running with the big dogs right now. The lap times he's running with Reese Gold, a race winner this year already. So Missig stepping things up in the Pabst Racing number 19.
And that's great to have that battle. Looking ahead to Louis Foster, to be able to learn and watch him as someone who has dominated the series, and also understanding how to manage the traffic behind you as you're managing almost identical lap times, and understanding how to keep an eye on those mirrors. And Jace is nodding, saying, keep that driver behind you. That's the other key part of this equation.
Right. It's quite the mental game when, you know, someone's running the same lap times, the gap's the same all the time, and there's just no margin for error. So really good job by Jordan.
Yeah, and I love what Jace was able to do in his race. That was it. Getting pressured so aggressively behind by his teammate Miles Rowe. You wonder whether or not Miles was going to try a dive bomb move, and Jace just didn't flinch. And I think consistency, we talk about that through results, what you're able to get done throughout the season, but the consistency through a race run like that, the 20 laps of him not making a mistake, consistent lap times, never flinching when pressured the entire time, that's the experience you gain in USF 2000.
And it's something that you have to learn as well, and Jace can probably address this also, because as you're going through the race, you're burning off fuel, your tires are wearing out. There's a lot of pieces to this puzzle that you have to manage, in addition to focusing on where the challenge is coming from behind you.
Right, and a lot of outside forces like the yellow flags, you know, you get a little bit of gap, then the yellow flag comes and you're like, oh man. So then you have to you restart the whole process over again. So, you know, learning to calm down and take a breath in between those yellows really makes a big difference to pull away for the lead.
Now, we've talked about this, Todd, mental toughness as well, right? It's not just about what you can do in the race car in terms of steering it around, being quick. When you have a restart like Jace said, you had this great lead, I'm in great position, I've got this handled. Yellow comes out, especially for Jace. With 2 laps to go, he has to go back to a restart, you know, essentially a green-white checker, and was able to get the job done. So that mental toughness showed here today.
Certainly did. Louis Foster remains out in front, the gap about 3.2 seconds, but second and third still running almost identical lap times between Jordan Missig and Reese Gold. The gap very close between those two, as the rest of the field is a little bit strung out behind them.
Todd, in USF 2000, we talked a little bit about the lower aero downforce that was built into this new Tatis car. We brought it into 2017. It didn't have as much aero downforce as the Van Diemen's that we ran for essentially a couple of decades before that. The idea was to build mechanical grip in, let the drivers race closer. Well, we throw that downforce that we pulled off of USF 2000, stacked it on these Indy Pros. A lot of downforce in these cars, so you are going to have a little more trouble when you come up behind someone, really relying more on that air flowing over the front wing to keep the front car of the car planted. So as Reese Gold gets closer in some of these quicker corners, if he's close enough to lose the air over the front wing, that makes it super tough to be able to make that pass.
Again, something that you have to deal with and understanding as you approach the opposition, find out where the opportunity is, and then you've got to get your car to behave the way you need it to complete the pass. It's a complicated equation to set up a pass. Jace, once again, we've talked about passes needing to be set up. If you're making a pass at corner 8, for instance, on this circuit here in Toronto, it's a pass that you're often starting to set up a number of corners before, trying to get that run down into corner 8 and have position to complete it.
Right, at a street track like this, you're always watching the person in front of you, where their strong points are, where their weak points are, where you can catch, where you get a run. So, you know, anywhere that is just a fraction of a little bit slower than you, you got to pounce.
So throw that in there as well. We talked about these kids out here, but anywhere from 14 to 21, 22 years of age. You're running on the ragged edge. You're trying to push as hard as you possibly can. Got to be ready to have that quick reaction just in case something happens. And all the while, you are researching the driver in front of you, trying to figure out what they do. Where is their weakness? Where am I potentially better? And again, that's all these different levels of what it takes to be a race car driver. Any one of us can get in a car and drive it around the racetrack, but become a really fine-tuned athlete, a professional race car driver, it takes a lot.
It does, and that is part of the benefit of the Road to Indy program as well, and understanding it's not just taking a driver, throwing him in the car and throwing him into the deep end and say, okay, figure it out. Yeah. There's knowledge from the teams, there's knowledge from teammates that have come in, and that kind of experience in terms of wide-ranging and offering opportunities to these drivers makes them well-rounded and able to move to the next step and be successful.
That's exactly that. Again, Jace Denmark from Pabst Racing, winner in race number 2 of USF 2000, third of the points, joining us in the booth. We'll come back to him later in this race, as we have now 8 laps remaining of a 25-lapper. A couple of cautions slowing things down early in the race, but we have settled into a good groove here now. Foster leading by 3.8 seconds. Missing running in second. We'll continue to look at the gap here right now and the lap times. Jordan Missing laying down some really good laps now. Running P2 ahead of Reese Gold. Gold comes in second place in points. Race after race, though, we've been seeing Louis Foster stretch away, winning races. Finished second to Kiko Porto in the second race at Mid-Ohio. But Kiko's not in the championship fight, so didn't really lose any ground. He was, again, able to finish ahead of the Reese Golds, the Nolan Siegels, and the Anama Med. So Foster, everything he's doing here right now is giving him more and more cushion when we get to the Oval and Worldwide Technology Raceway, then on Labor Day weekend to the triple header at Portland. There's an opportunity for him to be able to potentially clinch this championship before we even get to Portland. But right now he's doing a tremendous job. For Exclusive Autosport, it almost throws it away in turn number 5. Something happened there for Foster in turn number 5. Came into the corner, locked up the left front, had to stand on the brakes, and almost got into the wall. Todd, that was wild.
It's funny that, well, I want to ask Jace about this too, but it's funny that a driver will work in a hard and build up a lead and now you find yourself 4 seconds ahead of the second place driver, and as opposed to keeping focused and trying to go as quick as you can, you think, okay, I can relax a little bit, and sometimes that comes back to bite you.
Right, and yet again, like turn 5, really tricky corner to get right. There's a lot of bumps on braking, can deny a downshift, and that's probably what happened. Just got a denied downshift, couldn't make the corner all the way, and got a little brush of the wall.
Yeah, great point there. The downshift obviously key coming in, getting that car downshifted to where it needs to be. But listen, this is how hard these guys are pushing. And I'm going to say this right now. The gap is 2.9 seconds, but chalk this up to Jordan Missing not letting Louis Foster pull away like he has in races before Toronto, and then even yesterday able to stretch away significantly, had a 4, 5, 6 second lead. Missing's almost matching his times. They're getting down to within a couple of tenths, only 2.9 back. So Louis continuing to push, continuing to dig, as opposed to backing down to say 97%, right? He's still essentially 99% or 100% trying to pull away.
Foster, Missing, and Gold, the top 3 as they are running now. Sundar Amurthy and Jack William Miller rounding out the top 5. It was an adventure early on, especially on that second restart for Jack William Miller, but nice of him to hold on to that top 5 spot.
Yeah, Miller now P5, trying to put some pressure here on Sundar Amurthy. We'll keep an eye on that as well to see whether or not we could have a fight for P4. Sundar Amurthy in 4th, Miller in 5th. Here they are coming through turn number 1 now. Then there's 6th place running Braden Eves. 7th is Kiko Porto. 8th is Wyatt Prokachik. 9th, Anam Ahmed. And 10th is Lindsey Brewer. We're going to have a look at the replay of that little incident for Louis Foster. So watch him rolling through here. Got it all sideways. It wasn't just a lockup. Mid-corner trying to carry a bunch of speed. And Jace Denmark, let's get back to you. Give us your analysis on that. You led. You were up front. What happened there for Louis Foster?
I'm thinking maybe he just took a little bit too much curb trying to get it pointed, and it caught him off guard. I mean, I just think he got a little bit too much rotation in the center of that corner and caught him out. So he didn't lose too much time, but definitely keeps you on your toes.
Technical term for that is, I believe, a Code Brown moment, right? Yeah, that was...
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah. That would have been a wake-up call for Louis Foster. Think about that. You're cruising out there with a 2.5 second lead. You're rolling to turn number 5, and all of a sudden you got the wheel turned to the right. You're on the brakes, and you're like, oh, this is not good. You saw him lock up the left front. And that's the only minor thing to think about right now. He's got great pace still. He's 3.4 ahead, but he's locked the tire up. When you start locking tires up, you continue to flat spot in the same place. That could be an issue that may be a chink in the armor of Louis Foster.
That's what drivers will be thinking about now into the closing laps with 4 to go here in the Indy Pro 2000 races. Okay, you're going to be thinking and feeling every little bump in the car, every little bump in the track. Are you going to be hearing every noise? Jace, how focused do you become on your surroundings in the closing laps of a race like this?
Yeah, it's really amazing how much you can hear and how much you can feel in the little cockpit of a car, and just every little thing, so minuscule can affect your whole mentality about the race. And, you know, things like that lockup or that little moment that he had in turn 5 is just a good reality check, really, for anyone who leads.
Reality check, I love that. And he's going to put that behind him, right? Done. I had a little mistake there. I got to stay focused. He'll come across the line right now to put lap number 22 in the books. It'll be 3 laps to go, I believe, this time by Indy. 3 laps to go for Foster. Watching these lap times, he just dropped down a 108.690. Let me tell you this right now. So in yesterday's race, late in the going, I want to say he had the fast lap of the race, but he was only by about 18 thousandths of a second over the next fastest driver. So it's a bonus point for fast lap of the race. Engineer comes on. We have fast lap by 18 thousandths of a second. We're good to go. Foster goes out, drops 6/10 or 5/10 of a second or something, slams a lap down and goes, now that's the cushion that I wanted. This is what he just did. He was laying down lap times in the 109.1, 109.2, lays at a 108.6. No one's touching that. He's 6/10 quicker than the fastest time by Jordan Missing.
Guess the car is okay.
The car is fine, no issues, and I'm telling you right now, there are a bunch of Indy Lights team owners right now that are salivating and trying to get a hold of Louis Foster for 2023. This kid is online to try to win this championship, the scholarship of almost $700,000 to go to Indy Lights. This kid is the next star of the road to Indy.
What a sign of maturity, though, to understand your circumstances and situation. Okay, I got caught out there, I made a mistake, but now I'm not only going to not let it happen again, but I'm going to correct it. I'm going to get my lead back up to about 3 or 4 seconds where I was, which he has accomplished in a couple of laps. Also, as you mentioned and detailed, there are bonus points available for scoring the fastest lap. He has put that out of reach for everyone else.
Exactly.
Jace, these are the kinds of things that drivers are starting to pick up on and notice and learn in the second half of the season especially.
Right, really good job by Foster to bounce back from that incident. It's hard, it's really hard to do that. And to put out a lap like that right after an incident, really impressive, really, really impressive.
Yeah, that's it. To be able to get that mental focus back once again for Louis Foster, doing it and then laying down that smoking lap of a 108.690. 33 points on offer on a race day. 30 for the race win, 1 for pole, 1 for fastest lap, and 1 for most laps led. Pole done. Most laps led done, 23 of the 25 already. We'll make that 24 laps. He has the fast lap of the race. Could be a full points haul for Louis Foster here. White flag for the British driver as he works his way down into turn number 1 with a lead of, I think, over 4 seconds, almost 5 seconds to lead right now. He can cruise it home to yet another victory. 6 race wins in the last 8 races. 7 of those 8 on the podium. Louis Foster putting this championship out of reach for the remainder of the group. Jordan Missing by himself in second. We may see a fight between Gold and Sundaramurthy. Juven Sundaramurthy here on the final lap is closed up on Reese Gold. They'll watch Foster work his way through turn 5. Nice and clean there. Gave himself lots of room on the exit. Not going to risk that one at all. Foster through turn 6. I'll tell you, folks, you're seeing a future star of the NTT IndyCar Series on display here in Toronto this weekend. The British driver turning 19 next week. He is having a tremendous drive here. Clean out of the final couple of corners. Watch it through the bumpy turn number 10 and 11. But what a tremendous weekend. Out of turn number 11. Race number 2 for Indy Pro 2000, the L&W Supply Grand Prix of Toronto. Back-to-back jacks for Louis Foster as he wins here in Toronto for Exclusive Auto Sports. Jordan Missing 3.9 seconds back as Foster checks it down to a 1:10.5. What a great run for Jordan Missing. Reese Gold ends up holding back Juven Sundaramurthy. Jack William Miller rounding out the top 5. Jace Denmark, you got to be happy for both your teammates, both rookies in the top 4. What a run for Jordan Missing.
Right, just really happy that you get through that chaos in the first half of the race, and to really keep up his lap times, to keep up with someone like Foster. Really great job from him, and just happy that we can get 2 top 5s.
Yeah, 3 different teams on the podium, as we've seen so many times, the parity in this program. Louis Foster for Exclusive Autosport with the win. Pabst Racing's Jordan Missick coming home in second, and Hunko's Hollinger Racing's Reese Gold wrapping up the top 3. Jace, congratulations again on a fantastic day today. We want the fans to be able to follow you. You're a future star of the NTT IndyCar Series for sure, battling for the championship in USF 2000. When we get to Portland, how do they follow you? Do we got a website, social media? Give us all your information.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter is jace.denmark, really easy, and I'm just really happy to make this into a 3-car race for the championship rather than how it was, you know, the majority 5-car race. So
I'm 100% with you. 2 drivers, great, but I'd rather have you in the fight as well. 3 drivers ready to challenge for the championship in Portland on Labor Day weekend. We're going to head down to Victory Lane right now because Louis Foster's got more celebrating to do.
Thank you, Rob Howden. Thank you, Chase Denmark, for coming up and joining us to discuss this Indy Pro 2000 race. Terrific job and good luck the rest of the way this season in the USF 2000 series and hopefully next year beyond. Really appreciate it. Congratulations again to Louis Foster. As you look at the unofficial results up on the big screen, Louis Foster scores the victory again and extends his championship lead in the Indy Pro 2000 series. Jordan Missick and Reese Gold rounding out the podium. There's the rest of the finishes. We had a lot of action, a lot of carnage early on in this Indy Pro 2000 race. Boy, it was something at the beginning. We had a spin with Nolan Siegel in quarter number 1, and then he collected a couple of other cars into corner number 1. We got going from that, and then we had Jonathan Brown, who had a touch of the wall coming out of corner number 5, damaging the right rear tire. He spun on the backstretch, and that collected Nolan Siegel and wound up taking him out. Nolan Siegel, who was one of those who was still in the hunt for race wins and up near the top of the championship standings heading into this weekend, but gets taken out for a difficult event for the rookie here to conclude things.
All 3 drivers out of their cars, they're weighed, and we're ready to go. Let's start with the driver coming home in 3rd place today. A round of applause for Hunko's Hollinger Racing's Reese Gold. Guests of L&W Supply helping us out by passing out the trophies. Marbel Bautista will present the 3rd place trophy to Reese, driver to Miami, Florida. Reese Gold coming home in the 3rd position. Great job for Reese, battled all the way to the end there with Yuvan Sundermurthy. We love having a driver come up to the podium for the first time in Road to Indy action. What a drive for this guy from Pabst Racing, folks. His first podium. Please do me a favor and give him a huge round of applause. Finishing 2nd today, Jordan Missick. Big run for Jordan. Stacy Welch, one of our guests from L&W, will bring his P2 trophy over, his first trophy in Road to Indy competition. Jordan's worked his way up the ranks through Radical Cup racing and other Formula Car programs, and we are thrilled to have him with us here on the Road to Indy. And he has been strong for the 2nd half of the season. But the driver who has been strong over the 2nd half of the season, unbelievable streak here right now. 6 wins over 8 races, 7 podiums, pulling further out to the lead in the points, folks. The English driver for Exclusive Autosport, put your hands together for Louis Foster. Louis, it just keeps on coming. Obviously, Jordan pushed you early there, a couple of yellow flags, but you put the hammer down. You were close in terms of fast lap. You almost walled it over in turn number 5, then you dropped a half a second off. Let's talk about the issue in 5. That was close.
Yeah, I mean, I was a bit wide going on the entry. I was pushing the braking zone a little bit there, just trying to find, you know, hundredths. And yeah, I was going in late, and I kind of thought maybe it'll stick, because I was only, I don't know, a tire width away from my normal line. And then I hit a massive bump, and I was like full lock on the brakes. You know, pretty scared, but I kept out the wall, and I just kept going from there. So.
Yeah, but then you dropped the fast lap down a half a second faster. What was that just there? Were you kind of waiting to pull that one out of the hat?
I mean, yeah, I was pushing for fastest lap. Sorry, Dad.
He does tell you you don't need to do that right now. You remember that, right?
Yeah, I didn't listen to him. But no, I mean, I knew I had the pace in the car, so I think the first few laps I was challenged quite a lot by Jordan. I was struggling to get all the rubber off my tires. There was so much rubber on the track from the IndyCar session prior. Once that cleared up and I got into a bit of a rhythm, you know, from there on I was just pushing and managed to put a decent gap, and then once I got to about 3 seconds, I just settled into a rhythm.
Yeah, huge win for you in the championship. Big as well for the Canadian-based team here, Exclusive Autosport. 2 wins here in Toronto.
Yep, I can't. I don't know, they've done an amazing job, as always, and they really deserve this, so thank you to them.
Congratulations, man. Here's my winner, Louis Foster, folks. Once again, 6 of the last 8. Let's bring that first place trophy in here right now. Nicole Barnhart has the P1 trophy, adding to Louis' collection on the season. What a tremendous run for Louis Foster again here today. Really, the way it's been since that third race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, he has really not lifted off the throttle. And as we said yesterday, the victories here in Toronto, making him the only driver here on the road to Indy to be able to win on all 3 different disciplines. The different styles of racetracks, natural terrain road courses, of course, now the street circuit win here in Toronto, and then winning the Freedom 90 at the Indianapolis Raceway Park on the Carbonite Classic. Louis Foster, as we said, folks, this kid is going to be a star in the NTT IndyCar Series, lining things up to potentially win this scholarship to move to Indy Lights next year. And he has been a revelation coming over from Basingstoke, England. Awesome to have him here with us. And again, I think 2 big runs here as well. Obviously, Reese Gold continues to show his ability here in Indy Pro 2000, multi-time winner in both USF 2000 and Indy Pro. I know eyeing an Indy Lights move for next year. And talk about a great run here this weekend for Jordan Missig, folks, on the podium for the first time here at Road to Indy action. What a great run for Jordan. Lap times early, putting the pressure on Louis, able to settle right in, holding off, of course, the drive from behind, and coming home with a well-deserved runner-up finish on the difficult streets of Toronto. NTT IndyCar Series machines warming up back here. Excited to wait to see them eventually get themselves out onto the racetrack. We've got Porsche racing for you coming still. This is going to be a great afternoon of competition. Man, so good to be back here in Toronto, is it not? The Honda Indy Toronto, been 3 years since we've been here. Kudos to all the fans that have come out to enjoy a beautiful day here on the shores of Lake Ontario. And I know the Road to Indy folks will tell you we are thrilled to be here. This is one of the favorite races of everybody on the Road to Indy. Not just for the atmosphere here in Toronto, the difficulty of the track, but it's the race fans that we really enjoy trackside here. You guys are awesome. Good to have our guests from L&W Supply as part of the family of the Road to Indy here this weekend. Get a chance to meet all our drivers. They've been in the suites. They've been getting paddock tours around the racetrack. A lot of great opportunities to work with the good folks from L&W. Oh, there it is. Here comes the broom. A sweep of the weekend for Louis Foster. 2 poles, 2 race wins, max points here on the streets of Toronto. And I think we're good to go. Here comes the champagne, ladies and gentlemen, to enjoy the celebratory finish of the events. You'll see it, of course, happen with the IndyCar drivers. But guys, drop those trophies, get that champagne flying. It's time to celebrate the win, celebrate the runner-up, celebrate the podium. Louis Foster with the win. Another victory here to put him further out in the points. Jordan Missig celebrating his first trip to victory lane as a second-place finisher. First podium for Jordan Missig, and yet another one for the flying driver from Miami, Florida, Reese Gold. Folks, thank you so much for allowing us to be here with the future stars of the NTT IndyCar Series. You're going to see these guys in a couple years. Remember, this is where Kyle Kirkwood, Renus VK, Pato O'Ward, they were all here on the Road to Indy over the years, developing their talents to put on a show for you here today on the streets of Toronto. Again, we thank you so much. Those of you tuning in live on the Road to Indy TV app or on the Road to Indy YouTube channel, we thank you so much for taking some time out of the day. Hope you enjoyed the action, and we will be back once again at the end of August with Indy Pro at Worldwide Technology Raceway at Gateway. Look forward to you tuning in there or being trackside with us. Thank you so much, folks. Signing off from Toronto, my name's Rob Howden. Bye for now.